My fiancée laughed at my small business dreams, so I sold it for millions, canceled the wedding. And she now watches my success from a shared apartment. I'm a 29-year-old guy. And I used to think love meant supportive in when the world doubted you. Especially from the person who claimed to believe in your vision. I thought that's what Claire was, my anchor. My biggest cheerleader. The person who saw something in me before anyone else did. I met her at a business networking event in Chicago. She was sharp, confident, and had this magnetic energy that pulled people in without trying. A marketing executive with a sleek portfolio and an even sleeker wardrobe. We clicked almost instantly. What started as a coffee after the event turned into all-night conversations about startup culture, dream careers, the kind of legacy we wanted to leave behind. She said she loved how passionate I was. You talk about your ideas like they're already changing the world. She told me once, tracing circles on the back of my hand. I had just started building a niche, eco-friendly packaging brand. Biodegradable, minimalist, scalable. Not sexy, but necessary. I was bootstrapping everything. Late shifts at the gas station, barely affording groceries, and using my small apartment as a packing station. She used to sit cross-legged on my floor, folding sample boxes, laughing about how we'd look back at this one day and laugh. I believed her. I believed in us, so I gave it everything. I poured my savings into inventory, skipped sleep to meet supplier deadlines, and turned down a stable job offer because Claire told me, if you sell out now, you'll regret it forever. But slowly, her tone started changing. She'd say things like, "You sure this doesn't need a backup plan?" Or, "I saw a great finance job open, you should apply, just in case." Just in case. I didn't want to believe what I was hearing. But something in her voice had shifted. Subtle, cold, like she was already checking out, and hadn't even made my first profit yet. At first, I told myself I was being sensitive. That maybe Claire was just stressed with her own work. But the jokes started coming more often, little digs. Always followed by a smile that didn't reach her eyes. She started introducing me to her friends as the entrepreneur. But the way she said it, it wasn't pride. It was mockery dressed as charm. One night at a dinner party, someone asked what I did, and Claire jumped in before I could answer. "Oh, he runs a cardboard box empire," she said, sipping her wine like she hadn't just stabbed me in the ribs. Everyone laughed, including me, because what else was I supposed to do? But when we got home, I brought it up. "Did you mean to make it sound like a joke?" I asked quietly. She rolled her eyes. "Oh, come on. Lighten up. It's just cardboard. Don't be so sensitive." That sentence echoed in my brain for days. It's just cardboard. Never mind that I'd spent months researching sustainable adhesives. Never mind that I was trying to reduce plastic waste. Never mind that my hands were blistered from packaging late into the night. She used to ask how many new clients I'd landed. Now, she just asked if I'd finally decided to update my resume. I caught her one morning scrolling through job boards for me. I asked what she was doing. "Being realistic," she said. "You think I want to be engaged to someone still struggling to break even at 30? That was the first time I saw it written all over her face. She didn't believe in me anymore. Or maybe she never really did. And once I noticed it, I couldn't unsee it. One night it walked in on her talking to her sister on speakerphone. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. I had just come back from a late meeting with a local vendor. My name came up right as I stepped inside. "I just don't want to be stuck with someone who's still figuring it out at 30, Claire said, her voice sharp and flat. Her sister chuckled. "So don't marry him." Claire laughed too. I might not. I stood frozen in the hallway, keys still in my hand. She didn't know I was there until I cleared my throat. Her eyes went wide for a split second before she forced a smile. "Oh, hey, babe." That wasn't what it sounded like, except it was. She tried to spin it into a joke, said she was venting, that every couple complains. "Don't be dramatic," she said. "You know I love you." But after that night, I started paying closer attention. She began touring wedding venues with her mother, ones I'd never agreed to visit. The price tags were ridiculous. 5-star hotels, custom florals, ice sculptures. She never once asked what I could realistically afford. When I brought up budget, she brushed me off with, "You'll be doing better by then, right?" I mean, that's the plan. There was no we in her words anymore. Just assumptions, expectations, pressure. I started wondering if she ever saw me as a partner at all, or just a placeholder. Someone to parade around until something better came along, nor until I magically became everything she wanted. And every time I opened my laptop to check my dwindling balance, her voice echoed in my head. I don't want to be stuck. Neither did I, but I was the only one still trying to build something. It happened during one of those gatherings. She loved wine glasses clinking, soft jazz in the background, her colleagues dressed in expensive indifference. I hated those nights. I never fit in with her corporate crowd. They talked in metrics and promotions, while I quietly nursed a drink and checked my business email under the table. That night, one of her friends, some guy from our office, asked how my little venture was doing. Before I could answer, Claire smirked. "Oh, you mean his cardboard kingdom? He's still ruling it from our living room." The room erupted in laughter. I forced a smile, but my jaw ached from holding it together. When we got home, I couldn't swallow it this time. "Why do you do that?" I asked. "Why do you make me look like a joke in front of your friends?" She didn't even look up from removing her earrings. "Because you make me look like a joke." "Do you think it's fun explaining to people that my fiancé sells boxes?" I felt something in me snap. Quietly, not violently, just a clean internal break. "I don't sell boxes," I said. "I build something that's mine, something that matters." She laughed under her breath. "Sure, babe. Keep telling yourself that." For the first time, I didn't chase her with explanations or promises. I just stood there, watching her reflection in the mirror, her perfectly applied makeup, her cold expression. The same woman who once folded samples with me on the floor. That night, after she fell asleep, I opened my laptop and checked my email. I had 3 new inquiries from potential clients. Small contracts, but enough to matter. Enough to remind me I was moving forward slowly, quietly, on my own terms, and for the first time in a long time. I didn't need her to believe in me. It came out of nowhere, an email buried in my spam folder, of all places. Subject line: interest in EcoCrate, business inquiry. At first, I thought it was a scam, some phishing attempt. But then I read it. A mid-sized packaging distributor based in Denmark had found my website. They'd been following my content for months. They liked my minimalist design, the biodegradable materials, and the fact that I wasn't trying to mass-produce. The message was short but clear. "We're looking to expand into sustainable product lines. Would you be open to a strategic acquisition or partnership?" I sat there staring at the screen, mouth dry. I didn't reply right away. I reread the email 10 times. Checked their domain. Looked up their company registration. They were legit. A real player in the European market. I even found a LinkedIn article featuring their CEO. It didn't feel real. For the next few days, I kept it to myself. I didn't tell Claire. I didn't tell anyone. I took meetings in my car between gas station shifts. I worked all night reviewing term sheets, signing NDAs, asking questions I didn't even know how to ask properly. They weren't just offering to invest. They wanted a buyout with retained equity, partial control, 7 figures. I would stay on as the creative head while they scaled operations overseas. I remember closing my laptop after one of the calls and just sitting there. My hands were shaking, not from fear, From the realization that this was it. All the nights alone, all the silent humiliations, all the doubts, it was finally amounting to something. But I still didn't tell Claire. Because some part of me already knew she didn't deserve to be part of this chapter, not after how she treated the last one. It was a Sunday morning, the kind where the sun comes through the blinds just right, and you think maybe things will feel light again. I was making coffee when Claire walked in, still in her silk robe, scrolling her phone. She didn't say good morning. She never did anymore. "I got you something," she said flatly, placing a printed sheet on the kitchen counter. It was a job listing. Corporate sales rep at a logistics firm downtown. $78,000 a year. They're hiring fast. Sent your resume. I blinked. "You what?" She shrugged. "You need something stable. I'm tired of lying to people about what you do." My stomach turned. "You don't lie. You just belittle." Her tone sharpened. "You think working at a gas station and shipping cardboard from our apartment is something to brag about? It's embarrassing." Embarrassing. The word hit harder than I expected, harder than anything else she'd said. I stayed silent for a few seconds, trying to breathe through the fury rising in my chest. The same chest that used to swell with hope every time she smiled at my ideas. "I don't need you to brag," I finally said. "I needed you to believe in me." She scoffed. "Grow up. Belief doesn't pay the bills." And with that, she walked away like she hadn't just killed the last part of me that still hoped we could be saved. I stared at the job listing for a long time. I could have crumpled it, burned it, ripped it in half. But instead, I folded it neatly and slipped it into my desk drawer. Not as a reminder of failure, but as proof. Proof of who she really was. Proof that when the wind came, she would never be able to say she helped me earn it. I didn't tell anyone. Not Claire, not my friends, not even my brother, just me. A printed contract. And a plane ticket to Copenhagen. The company wanted to do the signing in person. It was formal, ceremonial, a chance to shake hands and tour the facility. I said yes without hesitation. Claire thought I was going on a vendor retreat, and I let her believe that. She barely looked up from her laptop when I wheeled my suitcase out the door. I spent 12 hours on that plane, alternating between anxiety and disbelief. But the moment I walked into their glass office, was greeted with smiles and European handshakes. And saw my prototype displayed in their showroom, I knew I was exactly where I was meant to be. The signing took less than an hour. I walked out a pardon of a multi-million-dollar green initiative. The final figure wired into my account that day, $2.4 million. I didn't cry. I didn't cheer. I just sat on a bench outside their building, staring at the city skyline. It felt like holding my breath for 5 years and finally exhaling. Later that night, I ate dinner alone at a quiet restaurant near the water. No champagne, just pasta, mineral water, and the soft sound of Danish conversations around me. I kept thinking, this is the moment I dreamed about. The one I imagined every time she laughed at me. Every time she rolled her eyes. Every time I fell asleep wondering if I was just delusional. And now it was real. And she had no idea. I flew home the next day and walked into our apartment like nothing had changed. Because in her world, nothing had. But in mine, everything had. And I had no intention of letting her back into the version of me that finally made it. When I got back, Claire didn't even ask how the vendor trip went. She barely glanced up from her phone as I walked through the door. "Did you bring anything back, or was it just more recycled dreams?" I didn't flinch. I just smiled and set my bag down. No souvenirs, just clarity. That week, everything started falling apart for her. Claire got word she'd lost a big marketing client. Something about her pitch being out of touch. She spent hours pacing the apartment, ranting into her phone. Then slamming the door to take calls from her old bedroom at her parents' house. Money got tight. Our bonus didn't come through. The wedding venue sent another payment reminder, and when I asked if we should scale things down, she snapped. This wedding is the only thing I'm excited about. Don't ruin it too. 2. Like I was a disappointment she was enduring. That night, she threw a passive-aggressive tantrum about the electricity bill being late heaven, though I'd been paying it for months. When I reminded her of that, she waved me off. Well, you should. I've carried us long enough. I laughed. I actually laughed. Not out of humor, out of the sharp, surreal absurdity of it all. Carried us. This woman hadn't even carried herself through a single hardship without blaming someone else. But I didn't say that. Not yet. Instead, I started drafting a letter. A breakup letter, a goodbye speech, a clean exit. I worked on it late at night after she fell asleep, headphones in. Typing like a man finally packing a suitcase he should have left years ago. By then, I wasn't heartbroken. I wasn't even angry. I was calm. Focused, she had mocked my rock bottom now. I was watching her quietly sink into hers, and she didn't even see the cliff edge. Beneath her feet, it was a Thursday morning. Quiet. Uneventful. She was still asleep when I left the envelope on the kitchen counter. I didn't write anything dramatic, no bitterness, no guilt trip, just the truth. Claire, I'm calling off the wedding. I wanted to believe we were building something together, but it's clear now I was building alone. You didn't believe in me, and that's okay. But I can't marry someone who resents the man I've become. Don't contact me. I'll be moving out by the weekend. I left the ring beside the note. Not the one she wanted, not the upgraded. 3-stone diamond she hinted at for months, but the one I had saved for. The one I picked when I still thought we had a future worth investing in. I didn't wait for the aftermath. I didn't stay to explain. I booked a hotel for 2 nights, then signed a lease on a downtown loft with floor-to-ceiling windows and enough space to breathe. That afternoon, I got a string of messages. What is this? You kidding me? You can't just leave like this. We have a wedding, Alex, but I could. And I did. The last message came an hour later. After she opened the printed email I'd also left in the envelope confirmation of the $2. $4 million buyout. The company logo sat at the top, my name in bold at the bottom, and just one note scribbled in pen. You mocked it, so I built it. Without you, she never replied after that. Not because she didn't want to, but because there was nothing left to say. The wedding didn't get postponed, it got erased, and I've never looked back. The silence lasted exactly 4 days. Then came the first email. The subject line read, "Please talk to me." She didn't beg, not yet. Instead, she spun it like she was just scared and only trying to push me to be my best. Said she never meant to hurt me. That she was shocked and confused. That we were supposed to be a team. I didn't respond, so she tried texts. I was harsh, I know, but it was out of love. Don't let a few bad moments erase everything we had. I was wrong, okay? Just come home. Each one more desperate than the last. On the 5th day, she showed up at my new place. I had only just moved in boxes still unpacked. Art still leaned against the wall. She stood in the hallway, in designer heels and mascara streaks, asking if we could just talk. I let her in. Not because I wanted to, but because I needed to hear it. She walked through the apartment slowly, eyes scanning everything. I could see her mentally calculating how much it cost. The new couch, the view, the hardwood floors. You look good, she said quietly. I didn't smile. I didn't hug her. I just stood there. I needed support, I told her. Not shame. She flinched like I'd slapped her. I thought you were being unrealistic. No, I said. You thought I was beneath you. Her eyes welled up. Can't we start over? I shook my head. You buried the best parts of me when you thought I'd never succeed. You don't get to stand in the light now that the sky's finally clear. She left without saying another word, And this time, I didn't watch her go. Word spread fast. People started asking questions, her friends, coworkers, even her mother called me, demanding to know what really happened. I said nothing. Let her tell her version. Let her squirm, trying to rewrite the ending of a story she never even finished reading. Meanwhile, I watched her life quietly unravel. She moved out of our old place within 2 weeks. Couldn't afford the rent on her own, not with her bonus gone and the wedding refunds still pending. I heard through a mutual friend she was staying with a coworker, one of those girls she used to brag about being miles ahead of. Her Instagram went dark. No more latte shots. No ring selfies. No CEO fiancé captions. She became just another ghost in the algorithm. While I was becoming something else entirely, my business exploded with the partnership. I hired 2 interns, then a small team. We moved into a real office-exposed brick, sunlit windows. The kind of place I used to walk past and dream about. I was featured in an online business magazine. Someone even tagged Claire in the comments. She never liked it, never shared it. But I saw that she viewed my story. That was the last time her name ever appeared on my screen. She used to laugh at my hustle from across the dinner table. Now she watches it grow from the cracked screen of a shared apartment television. That was the real price of her mockery. Not just losing me, but losing the version of me that she never believed could exist. And the cruelest part, now that I've made it, she'll never again be allowed near the man who actually did. Sometimes I replay it all in my head. The nights she rolled her eyes while I packed orders. The mornings she sighed when I pitched new ideas. The smirks, the offhand comments, the laughter that always came at my expense. And now I laugh too, not out of spite. Out of clarity. Success doesn't heal everything, but it sure makes the silence easier. There's a certain peace that comes from no longer needing to prove yourself to anyone, especially not to someone who once looked at your dreams like they were beneath her. These days, I keep my circle small. People who were there when it was just me and a dream in a shoebox apartment. People who never asked me to get serious or mocked the grind. I don't owe them explanations. I don't owe her closure. I walk into rooms now where people shake my hand with respect. They ask questions. They listen. They see me. The version of me she refused to believe in now exists in full color. And she's stuck watching from the sidelines. I've heard she's dating someone new. Lives in a shared apartment with roommates she pretends to like. I don't hate her. I don't wish her pain, but I'll never forget the moment I realized I was building a life she'd never be allowed into. Final scene. It's me sitting on my office balcony, laptop closed, golden hour painting the skyline. I take a sip of coffee and open a folder labeled Phase 2, because this wasn't the peak. It was just the first step. She laughed when I dreamed, so I built in silence, sold in secret, and disappeared on purpose. Let them laugh. Let them doubt. By the time they realize you were serious, you'll be too far ahead for them to catch up.